Hello everyone. Today I'd like to introduce you a famous swan lake in China. Its name is Rongcheng Swan Lake. The right picture is the map of China, and this little red circle represents the location of this lake. It is located at the eastern end of Jiaodong Peninsula. It is the largest wintering habitat for swans in Asia and one of the 4 swan lakes in the world. So where are the swans from and when do they stay in this lake? Every year between December and the following April, tens of thousands of wild swans travel thousands of miles from Siberia to spend the winter there. So this big circle represents the area of Siberia. So we can see it's really a long distance between these two areas. So now let's watch a video of this swan lake to see what it looks like. Okay, in this video we can see there are really lots of swans in this lake and it seems they live happily freely there. So why do they choose this area as a habitat? What is habitat? A habitat is a place where an organism makes its home. A habitat meets all the environmental conditions an organism needs to survive. The main components of a habitat are shelter, water, food, and space. A habitat is said to have a suitable arrangement when it has the correct amount of all of these. Sometimes a habitat can meet some components of a suitable arrangement, but not all. So what about this lake? Does it meet all the components of a habitat? The right picture is a map of this lake, and the little red circle represents the location. And we can see it's a half-closed bay with an area of about 5 square meters. So it really offers large space for the swans to live. For shelter, this lake is adjacent to the land. So all the white part represents the land. And the terrain in this area is high in the northwest and low in the southeast. So this shelter blocks the cold wind from the north. So the water of this lake is always higher than 0 degree, and the ice-free condition makes swans able to get food from the water always. For fresh water, so where is the fresh water from? Okay, this is the screenshot of Google Earth. It shows the surface appearance of this lake, of around this lake. So we can see in this red circle, there are some rivers and a large area of wetland. So they offer plenty of fresh water for swans to drink. If you are interested, you can access Google Earth to magnify the image to get more detailed information. And for food, with the ebb and flow of the tides, the freshwater and seawater there exchanges that promotes the growth of plants and animals, including swans, food, fish, shrimp, a kind of algae, Zostera marina. Okay, this is a picture of this algae. So the good living condition of this habitat is greatly related to humans' conservation. So what do the government and people do to protect this habitat? The government take some measures, and we will talk about them later in a more detailed way. And the people, local people there, food swans, their favorite food, corn, if there are not enough fish and shrimp for them to eat. So this good living condition also attracts some other kind of birds to spend the winter in this lake. So all the plants, animals, and humans live in this region in a harmonious way. So it refers to another biological concept, biodiversity. It specifically refers to all of the living species in one region or ecosystem, including plants, bacteria, animals, and humans. All of the species work together to survive and maintain the ecosystem. So in this region, how all the species work together to survive and maintain this ecosystem, to better illustrate it, I make this relation diagram. Okay, this is a picture of swan, and the fish, shrimp, and algae corn are swan's food. Swans then produce manure that returns nutrients to the water, which contributes to the growth of fish, shrimp, and algae. Okay, the left part, all the yellow ovals represent humans' activities. The government set fixed fishing time, banned fishing nets with small holes, and decreased kelp planting area to ensure nutrients in the lake. So all of these measures ensure the sufficient supply of fish and shrimp for the swans. The government also plants more reeds to purify the fresh water, ban antibiotic containing fish feed to ensure swans' food quality. So the conservation efforts are really very important to protect the species habitats and preserve biodiversity. So there are also lots of other birds spending the winter in this habitat. Actually, there are 153 species of birds, with a total of over tens of thousands, including Oriental white stork. The first picture, Chinese merganser. The second picture, it is a kind of duck. White-head Korean, the third picture, and the last one, gray Korean, and so on. So you can see, based on these pictures, the different birds really have totally different observable features. So how does the content of this presentation link to Victorian curriculum biological science? For level 3 to 4, the descriptor is living things can be grouped on the basis of observable features and can be distinguished from non-living things. So through the pictures of fish, shrimp, algae, and birds, students could know the observable features and know they are different from non-living things. And the second descriptor is different living things have different life cycles and depend on each other and the environment to survive. So based on the relation diagram, the students could know how the species in this habitat depend on each other to survive. And through the introduction of shelter, water, food, and space, the students could know how swans depend on the environment to survive. For level 5 to 6, the descriptor is the growth of survival of living things are affected by the physical conditions of the environment. So for this part, humans' conservation efforts improve the physical conditions of this habitat, like sufficient supply of food, clean fresh water. So with enough food and clean water, so the swans and other birds live well in this habitat. That means the growth of survival of these living things are affected by these physical conditions. As you can see in this presentation, there are multimedia representations. So what is the relevance of the representations to the habitat and biodiversity? First, it is introduction video. It could be used to show the whole appearance of this habitat and the happy life of swans. Google Earth shows the surface appearance of this habitat, especially the fresh water. So it could be used to illustrate where the fresh water is from for students in an explicit way. Map of the lake shows the location of this habitat and could be used to explain the terrain shelter of this habitat. Photos of species shows observable features of different species and the biodiversity in this lake. The relation diagram is used to illustrate how species affect each other and work together to maintain the ecosystem and the biodiversity. So that's all. Thank you for your watching. Hope one day if there is opportunity, you could go to China to watch this wonderful lake personally. Thank you.